first and foremost, a couple of injury doubts going into it. We've saw obviously Saka and Rice withdraw from England duty. Is the expectancy that they will be fit for Forest, and also Calafiori? I know he's sort of in that bracket as well.
Yeah, I mean, we do expect them to be fit. Yeah, I think Declan, there'll be a late decision. Well, there'll be a late decision taken on all of them, but there was certainly a hope at the start of the window that this break would do them good and they will be available for the Forest game. Calafiori, again, there is definitely a hope that he'll be fit for Forest, but if not Forest, very, very soon after the international break. So it's not going to be long until he's back. And I think Tomiyasu falls into the same boat there. So for the first time, really, in a long time, the injury situation seems to be improving a little bit at Arsenal. The way things have gone this season, you've got to touch wood when you say that, though, because it just feels like the next crisis is just around the corner when it comes to injuries. But it's looking better than it has done all season, really, injury-wise for Arsenal. And if you could get back after the international break and you do have Saka and Rice available and Calafiori can come back to the left-hand side, and the one blow we've had recently is Ben White, obviously, and that injury. But if you could just get Calafiori back and that would allow you to move Timber over to the right-hand side, then, as big of a blow it is to losing someone like Ben White, who's so crucial, it's still a very, very strong-looking back four there that Arsenal have, and that's before you factor Tomiyasu and everyone like that into the equation as well. So no, injury-wise, it's looking relatively decent despite the bad news we had about Ben White.
Yeah, I was going to mention Ben White, obviously, because he affects, obviously, your depth. He's quite versatile, obviously plays on the right mostly, but he is a blow to lose. I also wanted to get your opinion from an Arsenal perspective on the rumours he might open himself back up to England duty. Is that welcome news from an Arsenal perspective? Do you like to see these players going and getting England duty? I know you're worried about them potentially getting injuries like we've spoken about on international duty, but where do you stand on that from an Arsenal perspective?
I mean, it's a tough one. It's been quite nice not to have to worry about Ben White getting injured when he goes away with England. But from an England's perspective, look, there's few better defenders in England, certainly right-sided defenders, than Ben White over the last couple of years. He's been so incredibly consistent. Like you said, he's so versatile. He offers an awful lot. He's got brilliant character and personality. He's a winner, and he should be playing for England. He should definitely be in the mix for England. Of course, what happened, and he's taken himself out of the mix for that. I would expect there's certainly going to be conversations had, because a large part of the reason he wasn't playing for England was the previous coaching setup. That's clear, and they are no longer in place now. And if Thomas Tuchel is open to Ben White coming back, then I would imagine Ben White will think hard about it. I don't think it's necessarily an absolute given, just because there's been a change in the coaching setup, that he will go back. He'll think about it a lot. Ben's a very different type of character, and I don't think he will look at England and think it's the be-all and end-all like some other clubs do. He loves his downtime, and obviously when you go away with England, you don't really get that downtime during the international break. So he'll have a lot to weigh up, but I do think that the most likely scenario is there'll be conversations had now once Tuchel is in place, and if Ben White likes what he hears from Tuchel, which I expect he probably will, that he will make himself available.
Yeah, I mean, from an England point of view, that's probably where they've got the most depth, isn't it? Right back. So it's hard to get back in anyway for Ben White. But yeah, that'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on.